All right, and we are live. What is up? What is up, YouTube boxing family? It is I, K Rod here, back at it once again. And salute to Bruce Goes or Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more. Thank you for coming by. Here's a link if anybody wants to come in to discuss on the panel. But this is a brand new title for the boxing ratings zone. I switched it up just to keep it exclusive here. Um, obviously I still give credit where credit is due to Ricky Williams boxing channel. Obviously, he is the original creator of this particular topic or idea. But either way, I just wanted to just give that out and go from there. But tonight we have Mr. David Benavidez. He is a current super middleweight fighting contender, if I'm not mistaken. David Benavidez is currently, I'm pulling up his box rec right now. He is currently 26-0, 23 of those wins by way of knockout. He is 25 years old. He's a orthodox fighter. He's 6 feet and a half, and he has a 74 and a half inch arm reach, and he resides out of Phoenix, Arizona, in which he was born and raised. He's boxed over 118 rounds, and he has a 88.46 knockout ratio, and he has been a professional boxer ever since 2013, leading up to 2022. So David Benavidez has been pro for 9 years, if I'm not mistaken, and yeah, he's had a pretty stellar career. Definitely a very, very good fighter. Um, he's promoted by Samson Promotions, if I'm not mistaken, but he is obviously signed with the PBC Premier Boxing Champions. if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that's where David Benavidez does. He fights whoever he is able to get his hands onto, and he tries to do what he has to do. But for those of you that don't know, David Benavidez used to be the former super middleweight champion of the world, holding the WBC title at 168. He obviously got stripped in the past when he had fought whatchamacallit, Alexis Angulo, when he missed weight off the scale. Um, Obviously, he hasn't been contending for a title anytime soon, but I believe as far as his recent victory with David Lemieux, he's now the WBC interim champion, and he should be very, very well close to getting up to a world title contention, pretty soon. Hey, salute to you, Terry. Salute, salute. Thank you for coming by. Thank you, thank you. Appreciate you, man. But yeah, let's get right into it, man. I'm gonna pull up my document, and then we will get right up on what we need to talk about. Just give me like 1 second. I just need to find my document, and we should be set to go. And yeah. Oh, hey, salute to you, Isaiah. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. Appreciate every single one of you that do come through. I always have fun doing these, and I always just obviously love talking boxing. But yeah, but but if you guys want to hop onto the panel, feel free, and I'm more than willing to talk boxing and discuss all the topics. Uh, Hold on, I just need to find my documentation, and then I'll be right on track. Um, oh shit, like what happened to it? Oh, all right, yeah, good, I got it. So obviously, same thing as last time. We're going to be talking about all the topics here at hand. That being the eye test, boxing ability, defensive ability, ring IQ, footwork, power, chin, the intangibles, and the strength of resume. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, let's get right to it. And yeah, it's gonna be a pretty fun, discussion. Oh, and also, let me give you the mod, Bruce. Um, uh, like I already gave it to you just now, but I just wanted to do that for you. All right, so yeah, let's get right to it. Um, Obviously, we'll start off with the eye test. Eye test, I'm definitely gonna have to give this a solid 9.25. I think David Benavidez, ever since he started boxing, he's had good skills. Don't get it twisted. I think David Benavidez was always to be that guy to be the best of what he could have done, and I still believe he can still do the greatest things that we want to see him grow from. But I think the biggest problem with David Benavidez is just that he just has like those little kinks in his armor for him to be there for us to say, yeah, he can be that guy to dominate, a lot of high profile fighters. And I think he's there. It's just that the eye test can obviously lie to you, but I think based off of what we've seen from the whole progression from David Benavidez's career, he's done a very, very good job, and he's put himself in proper positions to solidify himself as a world title level fighter. And I think the greatest thing about David Benavidez is that his father definitely studies the game 24/7, and he does such a good job by training at a high level and putting himself at that zone for him to be focused. And obviously, there's been certain instances where he wasn't focused, to which that's what caused him to basically give up his championship status as the WBC champion, where the first time he got caught with cocaine in his system that got him stripped the first time, and then obviously the second time was when he missed weight when he was about to fight Alexis Angulo to make his title defense, and then that's what happened to David Benavidez for him to like lose everything and then he had to basically play catch up. But I don't really think that was really necessary because that time when he did miss weight, it was only off by like a couple pounds. But I think honestly, you know, David Benavidez should have been more disciplined at that time frame. But yet, the WBC, they should have never even done that in the first place because they should have gave him, the immediate opportunity to re-challenge for it just like any other fighter would if they ever do lose their belt off the scale. But either way, I would say based off of the eye test, I would give it a solid 9.25. I think David Benavidez earns that grade. He's a good fighter. He just has a little bit of kinks in his armor to fix, but I think it's a pretty solid grade to give it to him. But yeah, that's my grade for the first one. Um, for the second topic, we obviously have boxing ability. This may be pretty shocking, but I will probably say his boxing ability is not that good. I would give it a solid. I would give it a solid 7.25. I think David Benavidez, he knows where he is to be a boxer. But the problem is that he's not taught to be like that. He's taught to be more of a more of a bona fide puncher. I think that's his fighting style. He's not the type of dude to put himself at the right positions to set his feet where he needs to be. And I think he tends to be very sloppy when he tries to box because he's not been to that level. And I don't like to use like the amateur boxing experience to use that as like a means to say that David Benavidez he should have done amateurs blah blah blah, but obviously that's not true because it's like you just need the experience, like you obviously just need like the style to get you ready. And I think with David Benavidez is just that he's been in there with all the top level fighters. He's been in there in sparring wise with Gennady Golovkin. He's been in there with Kelly Pavlik. I believe he's been sparred with I think Chad Dawson and maybe Bernard Hopkins if I'm not mistaken. But David Benavidez, he's been trained with world championship level fighters, and I think that's like the biggest takeaway from his skill set, that David Benavidez knows where to put himself at the right positions. And I think the biggest problem that a lot of people don't tend to understand is just that he's not really resorting well to the boxing ability like he should, because he's more of a big, tall, lanky type of orthodox level pressure style inside fighter. So I would just give it like a solid 7.25. It's definitely there. It's just that he needs to put more work into it, and I think leading into the future, we'll start to see David Benavidez formulate his skills to be more of a bona fide boxer puncher, because he definitely has the punching skills, but he needs to add more boxing to it. And I think if he does that more to be around guys that will force him to box, then I think we'll start to see a much more stronger and more how should I say, like a more high level IQ version of David Benavidez. And I think a great example of his improvements was with David Lemieux, where he was using a bit of footwork and he was using a very very good polished jab, and he was actually moving his head, and he was using really really good high twitch level reflexes, where like he was actually giving David Lemieux a lot of problems early game, leading into the TKO victory. So yeah, I would give David Benavidez a lot of credibility for doing that, because that just shows that He's actually improving as a fighter, and he's putting himself in that position to constantly get better. So I would just give it like a solid 7.25. I would like to see more from it. He just needs to show it to me, and I think eventually we'll start to see him there at the high level. For the next topic, the defensive ability, I would grade this to be a solid 8.25. I think his defense is decent. It's obviously like not the best because he's not really there to like keep his head like like away from big shots. But I just think just by looking at the landscape of his fights, he's not respecting you as a fighter if you don't have a good shot loaded up in your punches. But granted, the only person that was able to actually hurt and down David Benavidez was Ronald Gavriel, and that was pretty much it. There's like no other fighter in the super middleweight division that was actually able to hurt David Benavidez to a point where he actually needed to have better defense. But ever since then, I don't really think David Benavidez's defense is not too great, but it's decent and it's like beyond average. I would say a little bit above average to the point where he actually goes in there and he wants to improve, but I think it's just that he's not utilizing his defensive strategies a lot sooner to get away from all the heavy loaded up shots that he's able to take. But I think eventually, sooner than later, David Benavidez, he needs to start being more defensively responsible because this is the hurt business, but you should be more professionally responsible to not take a lot of shots for you to be put in a bad position where you could very well end up getting yourself hurt or severely injured or possibly killed. But I would say his defense is a solid 8.25. He's not like keeping his hands down and just taking shots, basically taking the mass majority of punches, to the face. David Benavidez has good, decent defense. He comes in with like a good, strong high guard, but if he had good reflexes and good defensive, ring IQ to know where those shots are coming a lot faster, then I would say that would be a better way to see him grow as a fighter. And I think we'll start to see him, evolve to become a much more polished defensive, reflex, like fighter. But that's just how I see his defense. His defense is not too great, but his defense is definitely above average for what the standard, high level boxer should should do to keep away from all the big shots. For the ring IQ, this is a little bit tough, but I would give it a solid. Man, I don't even know. I'll give it a 7.50. I think that's a solid grade, just simply because David Benavidez, he knows what he's doing, but it's just that he doesn't adjust properly when he puts himself in the how should I say, in the improper position to not be in the moment to actually switch it up a lot sooner. And I think the biggest problem with him is just that he just doesn't seem to utilize enough ring IQ for us to say, okay, well, he knows how to get out of this particular situation, or he actually has a better awareness to put himself, out of harm's way when he gets into these shots. So I think either way, with David Benavidez' fighting style, he's a very, very good, level-headed fighter with his ring IQ being, decent. It's obviously not the best, but I think he needs to definitely improve it more, and I think those grade numbers will be a lot higher for him. I just think at this point, in your career, you should start utilizing the fundamentals of boxing more, and you'll start seeing the better improvements from David Benavidez, fighting style, because he has a really, really good, tremendous style. But the problem with David Benavidez is just that he doesn't utilize it enough because he hasn't been in there with a fighter that's not afraid to lay down. And the thing is that when you have a fighter that's not afraid to lose, and they're also not afraid to take risk up against you, that's where you need to start utilizing better adjustments to make it easier for you to win the fight. And I think that's where David Benavidez needs to start improving more, because eventually he needs to be in there with like a high level name. And I think a guy like Jamal Charlo would definitely beat him very, very convincingly. And I don't know how that fight would go down, but I say at this point, it's probably 55-45 in Jamal Charlo's favor or David Benavidez's favor. Who knows? But I think honestly, it's definitely close, like a lot more closer to a 50-50 level fight. But yeah, the ring IQ, it's definitely not too great. I would give it a 7.50, but that's pretty much my grade for that. The footwork, same thing. I don't really see anything spectacular out of David Benavidez's footwork. I think he's very, very flat footed at times, and he chooses to stand inside the pocket with you. He doesn't really choose to actually move and actually do the things that he's supposed to do in the ring to keep himself out of harm's way. But I think for David Benavidez, he just needs to work more on just putting himself in the right position when he does get hit with something heavy, and not tangling his feet up, in the wrong positionings for him to actually solidify proper punch placement and better punch accuracy when he sits down on his punches. But footwork is not really too great. So same grade, 7.50. Now for the power, um, I think this is actually pretty easy to grade. I would give it a solid like 9.65. It's not the greatest power in the world, but it's power that's going to hurt you. He can definitely knock out a lot of his opponents, but I think the biggest question is just like, is he like a one shot knockout artist, or is he like a bona fide, like is David Benavidez a bona fide like a power puncher that's a volume puncher? Because that's really like the biggest problem with David Benavidez. He hasn't really been in there with somebody that's able to take a good shot. Like the mass majority of his knockouts are being applied to people that have never really been in that position before. And on top of that, most of the punches that he throws are just like flurry punches. And I think with David Benavidez is just that a good number of his knockouts are pretty much referee stoppages. And I don't really count those to be knockouts. So his power is a bit questionable. I would still say it's still high level power, but it's not power to the level of one shot you're out. No, like it's actually volume punching power, but it's more deadly driven power that carries over time. So I don't know. I would definitely keep his power at a 9.65. I would give it a 10 out of 10, but I don't think he really deserves that, because it's like he hasn't really shown to me that his power is actually really that deadly to the point where he's actually knocking dudes out with like one punch. So I don't see that yet, but I think that's all subject to change. So yeah, 9.65. Yeah, so I would just go with that. Of for his chin, I would give it a I don't know. I would say 8.75 because he got dropped by whatchamacallit, Ronald Gavril, but like after that, you like fight leading up leading forward to now, he's really been pretty good keeping his chin, away from big shots. So I would just give it like a solid 9. It's like his chin is not that not that super god tier, but it's it's a good standard chin where he's able to like take shots and he's still able to walk you down to a big punch where he's able to knock you out. So his chin is like his chin is good, like for the high level, but that's all subject to that's all subject to change when he gets put up in there with somebody that's able to crack. And I think that's where all the speculation will change from here on out. Now for the intangibles, I think this is a pretty solid grade for me to give him, but I would give it a 8.50. David Benavidez, he knows what he has to do to get up there, to prove himself to be one of the best super middleweights in the world, if not the absolute best. Because I think the biggest problem with him was just that when he did lose his WBC title twice, I think that this version of David Benavidez that we see now is actually he's actually more focused and he's more disciplined and he has more dog and more drive compared to the other versions of him where we haven't seen that before. And I think that when it's all said and done, David Benavidez will be remembered as a very, very good, dangerous, level headed fighter that has always put himself to the highest degree of being successful to the best that he can be. But I think it's just all subject to change because we don't know if David Benavidez will be the best. But if he continues to fight the best, then he will be considered one of the best fighters. But that's all subject to change if he's actually able to keep up with the high level. I think so. I think David Benavidez will do more damage at 175 compared to 168. I think at 168 it might be questionable. I don't know who he's able to really beat. Some people say, or a good amount of people say, that he can beat Caleb Plant, which that was supposed to be the biggest fight in the super middleweight division. But I don't think that's going to be the fight that where people think that's going to be a very, very easy fight. I think Caleb Plant could very well beat David Benavidez just simply to boxing levels. Because if you really think about it, Caleb Plant is a bona fide pure boxer, but David Benavidez, he's a bona fide power puncher that knows how to use his inside boxing pressure very well. But on top of that, if he improves with his boxing ability and his footwork and his ring IQ, he could very well take over. He could very well do some mega damage to Caleb Plant and very well stop him, just like Canelo Alvarez. But the difference is that Caleb Plant has to stay switched on. If he's not staying switched on to a guy like David Benavidez, of course he's gonna get knocked out because he's showing that his defensive lapses kick in when he thinks he's winning the fight. But in all actuality, you're going to get hit with something that you don't see, and then therefore you're going to get knocked out. But I don't think he's going to do that with a guy like David Benavidez. David Benavidez is a bona fide power puncher. But if he's not able to land his power shots on you, then he usually ends up going for broke and then he tires out. And therefore, that's what makes David Benavidez really, really vulnerable to the point where, a guy like Caleb Plant could very well get up beside David Benavidez's head, and Caleb Plant could very well easily steal the show. So he could very well be viewed as the massive underdog, and David Benavidez, he could be viewed as as the massive favorite, but it still doesn't hide away from the fact that these two guys don't like each other. They have a lot of beef. They have a lot of disdain. But then again, when it's all said and done in the ring, that's where everything will be determined of who is the who is one of the top killers in the division. But I would believe that a guy like Caleb Plant has the ability to win the fight more than a guy like David Benavidez, simply because of the boxing fundamentals and the roots that Caleb Plant was brought up in, the core fundamentals of boxing. But for David Benavidez, he wasn't brought up like that. He was brought in to train in the sport, and then he was brought up by other world-class level champions that made him better, but he's never been in there to learn the sport of boxing, out of the core root fundamentals. So intangibles wise, he has the ability to do it, but he needs to show it to us for us to see him at his best peak as a high level fighter. So that's pretty much it for that grade. For the final grade, we have the strength of resume. I would give this a solid, just by looking at it. I mean, he has a good, decent resume. I mean, who did he fight? Like, he fought who? Um, who did David Benavidez fight? Who did you beat to be the man of your division? Eh, not too many guys, just by looking at it. But yeah, he beat Ronald Gavril back to back. Those were good wins. You beat Dennis Douglas. That was a good ass fight. That could have went either way. But you beat Jay Leon Love. He's not really that good of a fighter. He knocked him out in 2 rounds. You beat Anthony Durrell. I will give you credit for that. He was former multiple division world champion, or I think former super middleweight world champion. Yeah, he's never. Yeah, actually, yeah, he's just been fighting at 168 for his whole career. So yeah, he won the super middleweight title back in 2014, and after that, he then went on to lose it, and then basically move forward to try to win it again up against Avni Yildirim. So yeah, I mean, like a good victory like that, that's a certified. So that's a definitely a respectable weight to have your career stacked up like that. But Ronald Gavril, he beat him off of like a vacant title, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's never been a world champion, if I'm not mistaken, because David Benavidez fought him for the vacancy. So yeah, I mean, either way, I would give his resume like a solid 8.25. Or actually, no, I would give it like a solid, yeah, just a solid 8. I don't think his resume, is superb. He he's only beat like one former world champion in Anthony Durrell. Oh, and then on top of that, David Lemieux. But David Lemieux, he's a former middleweight champion. So I don't really give credit for him beating a guy like that. Like I think David Lemieux was never supposed to be at the super middleweight stage, but I mean it's a good victory. Like it's a good decent victory, but I just don't think that's a really really good look for David Benavidez's career. But either way, his resume is a solid 8 out of 10. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me grade it up, and I'll get you guys up and out of here. But I just wanted to say thank you guys for coming by. I always have fun doing these streams, and I give credit where credit is due. Credit to Ricky for the original idea, but I decided to switch it up just to make it exclusive for the name. So yeah, like I think that's like a better way of doing it, and just keeping it, you know, just keep it, like on unique on my end. But yeah, let me grade it up, and I'll get up out of here so I can move on with the night. I'm probably gonna go live for some gaming too, so definitely be on the lookout for that. I'm probably gonna do it tonight, or I'll probably just do it tomorrow because I'll have more time and I'll have things set in stone. So yeah, just give me like 1 second. I just need to get the tallies up together, and I'll be set to go. And we will have this show back on the road. Uh, I don't know if I'll probably go live tonight because I don't know if I have some other stuff that I need to get done. But either way, uh, hold on. I just need to get the tallies. All right, let me get that. Let me get that. Yep, 8. All right. Let me wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. Yeah. Okay. Sweet. All right. Good. Give me 1 second. I just have to update the score. Yeah, for the final rating for boxer rating zone for Mr. David Benavidez, um, Junior, if I'm not mistaken, David Benavidez comes out to be a solid 8.32. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, like I just want to say thank you guys for coming through. I'll be having more content coming out this week. So if you guys want to, keep it coming with supporting the channel, be sure to drop a like, donate, do whatever. And yeah, man, I'll see you guys later. And yeah, like I appreciate y'all. So shout out to the mighty LDBC, and I'm out. And salute to David Benavidez Jr. or David Benavidez himself, and can't wait to see what he does in the future. So, yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Bye.